today is how I did my Froppy goggles, and I have been slacking on this video because I don't have all of the parts that I thought I did recorded, and I thought I re-recorded some parts, but I can't find them anywhere. So this is going to be a very interesting DIY. I hope it helps some of you. For starters, I got my template from Cosplay. Her stuff is amazing. Her templates are only like $5 and they're so helpful. She gives you a PDF file on how she did everything. And so I kind of followed that, and then I kind of also did my own thing afterwards. So this isn't exactly like hers, but it's pretty similar to how she did hers. But mostly I got my template so I could do the actual goggle part, and then I just kind of winged the rest of it because I had no choice. So yeah, all you're gonna need, or at least what I used, is some kind of a template. You'll need a pattern for putting the goggles together. I will link Kinpatsu's down below. Then you're also gonna need acrylic spheres. You're gonna need acrylic paint, oil paint. I used oil paint as well. Fabric, in my case, I used a little bit of Warbler, and obviously craft foam. You can honestly use craft foam for this whole entire thing. You'll just need different thicknesses, and I used 5mm craft foam and 3mm craft foam. Yeah, so I used 5mm and 3mm craft foam, and yeah, so let's just jump into the parts that I do have. Alright, so here are the base pieces for this. There are only 3 pieces. I numbered them for my own sanity. It doesn't really matter because they're all the same. And then I placed the tick marks on them as well because that helps for lining them up and making sure that your goggles are even. I went ahead and I heated up each piece, and then I just kind of shaped them and rounded them out before attaching them together. I found that this helped when it came to shaping the initial goggle itself, and also just to help keep that round shape in the end. And just as far as gluing it together, I'm just using contact cement. I use this for everything. It's amazing. It's super inexpensive, and it's just a great, it's like a cosplay crafters need to have thing in your kit. It's amazing stuff. Alright, so obviously I am now lining it up, and as you can see, I'm lining the notches up together because that is how your goggles are going to be even and nicely shaped and not come out wonky. It is super tedious, but it definitely pays off to just take your time and go at it and about it very slowly. And just I pushed everything together, make sure there was no open seams and everything like that, and just kind of continued to kind of push. And as you can see, the goggle is forming. And then before I closed it off completely, I went ahead and glued the back parts together before I closed it, because it's kind of impossible to glue the back parts together if you fully close the goggles. So yeah, I also learned that from my first go around as well. This is just kind of like a slow, tedious process, but it definitely pays off as long as you take your time. You can always fill in any seams that you have with like gesso or something like that. It's an easy fix, but better to just be slow and not have to worry about doing any kind of touch-ups. And then here, just closing, doing the last part is very, very hard. In my opinion, that was kind of the most difficult as far as lining everything up. There was like, the top part was kind of a little off, but I was perfectly fine with that because we were going to add the sphere and the outer rim of the sphere anyway, so it would cover it up. But as you can see, here is how the goggle will look. So I'm going to tell you guys how I did my acrylic spheres and everything. This goggle is Goggles 2.0. My original, my first pair, I messed up because when I went to prime them with Plasti Dip, I had glued the spheres on prematurely, and so also I didn't have any like tape on me at the time, so I just very badly covered them up, and when I went to prime it for painting, the Plasti Dip got onto my spheres as well. But I was kind of happy because honestly I didn't like the coloring of the spheres that I used originally. So yay for messing up and learning from your mistakes. But like I said, I used a window tint for my spheres, and I think it was like $3 at the most at Hobby Lobby, which is where I picked it up, and it worked really, really well. I kind of want to use it for other things when it comes to using acrylic spheres and stuff like that. Like, I was impressed. I just kind of got it on a whim, and it was the perfect green when it dried, so color me impressed. As far as priming, like I said, I just used Plasti Dip to prime everything. You can use Mod Podge, you can use gesso, wood glue, whatever floats your little boat. And then when it comes to painting, I used oil paint because that's what Kim Patsu used, and I was like, let's try this out. So I went ahead and I bought oil paint, and lesson number one, that shit takes so long to dry, but it's super opaque and you don't need a lot of it at all, like whatsoever. I see why it's expensive. It lasts a long time. Oil paint is very expensive compared to acrylic paint, by the way. But yeah, so I used oil paint for this part. This is just acrylic paint. And as far as the detailing, this is just black craft foam in the 3mm. This was also black craft foam, but I primed it with gesso, and then I went ahead and painted it with the acrylic paint. Underneath here, for the middle part, I used Warbler to just reinforce it so that it wasn't super flimsy. You can also double up and use like two 5mm pieces of craft foam, or if you go like buy from TNT Cosplay, they have craft foam that's even thicker than that, and that's more durable, and you can probably only just need one of those. But I just went ahead and used the Warbler to reinforce it. Kim Patsu recommended it, so I was like, okay, because it is kind of flimsy, but it's not that flimsy. I don't know. It definitely helped, so it's not just kind of like flopping around everywhere. And underneath I have Velcro attached, and I just attached it with some mint glue. I took a kind of just around my head like this, and then sewed this up together. I have some interfacing inside. I don't know what it's called, but it's the, I call it batting, but I'm pretty sure it's not batting, but it's the cushiony like interfacing that's a little bit thick. That way it has a little bit of cushion on it, and so this is what I use to wrap around my head. Again, sewed the other Velcro piece onto there, and that is it for my goggles. They're actually pretty simple, and I like how these turned out. I do want to make another pair that kind of goes across my forehead, and I have the two like eyepieces right here on the side because I feel like hers extend in the anime, so I might eventually do those in the future, but for now these definitely work for me. And just personally, if you do it this way, I would recommend maybe a comb or something kind of like in the middle. That way they just sit on your head a little bit better. These tend to slide off, especially when you're wearing a wig that's kind of very smooth. So I'd recommend some kind of comb pieces or something, or maybe like some felt on the inside of your band. That way it stays on your head a lot better and it doesn't kind of slide off all the time. So yeah, I hoped my little sad tutorial helped someone out there with your goggles. Let me know in the comments down below, and yes, I do have more videos coming out eventually. Next will be how I made my Allura bodysuit, spacesuit, whatever you want to call it. Yay! Thanks for watching. Love you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let me know if there's any kind of like DIY or cosplay or I don't know videos you guys want to see on this channel. Love you. Toodles!